Open source 3D printed surgical instruments demonstrated in virtual and physical reality by John Davis Akkara and Dr. Anju Kuriakose. The authors have no financial interest in this presentation. We are releasing the designs open source and free on Thingiverse and National Institute of Health 3D Print Exchange. It is difficult to be prepared for complex eye surgeries using CTR, CTS, Cioni ring, BHEX pupil expander and different phaco choppers and glaucoma drainage devices. We decided to design and 3D print devices that aid in complicated cataract surgeries such as CTR, CTS, Cioni ring, BHEX ring, glaucoma drainage devices for wet lab practice. I used 3D computer aided design and 3D printing to design and print the glaucoma valves that we are talking about. So I used a free software called FreeCAD and drew the design of the valve which I had in mind. That was the foot plate. And once I had drawn the design and finalized it, I took it to 3D printing lab and used the resin 3D printer to print the model. There are two types of easily available 3D printers. One is the resin 3D printer and the other is the plastic 3D printer which uses spools of plastic. Once the 3D printed foot plate was printed, I removed it from the mold, cleaned it with isopropyl alcohol and then kept it under UV light, and once that was done, the foot plate was ready to use. I used the tube from a Venflon to make the tube of the valve. Once the tube was cut, it was inserted into the hole of the foot plate, and so this is the foot plate and the valve mechanism, and that is the tube. If you look at the other side of the valve, there are 6 canals opening in 3 in each side. These allow the liquid to flow in from the tube. We then fixed a bow tie in a plastic container and did a conjunctival peritomy to insert the valve. The foot plate of the valve is carefully inserted under the conjunctiva. Make sure that the conjunctival opening is big enough to accommodate the foot plate. The foot plate is then anchored to the sclera by suturing through the 4 holes using vicryl sutures. The tube is then measured and trimmed with the scissors. Once this is done, the next step would be to implant the tube into the anterior chamber. We have to make a track using a needle, partial thickness through the sclera into the anterior chamber in case of a phakic eye, and into pars plana in case of a pseudophakic or aphakic eye. Next step is to insert the tube into the tunnel so that it reaches the anterior chamber. Once the tube is inside, we have to make sure that it does not touch the endothelium. These are some of the other valves that we 3D printed compared to the first valve, which was actually quite big. The biggest one is the first GDD that we implanted in the surgical video. There is the small one with the tube, which is the latest design as of now, and there is also a medium sized one. This is a top and bottom view of the first valve that we designed. We can see the flow of fluorescein dye through all the 6 channels in the valve conduit. This is a medium sized valve, top and bottom view. This is a design for the smallest and newest model that we had designed. This has a raised area on the top through which the tube is inserted, and it has multiple channels which channel the liquid into the bottom. The plate itself has multiple holes to allow fluid pass through into the subconjunctival space. The fluid flow is as seen in this video. Here you can see the various CTR, CTS, Cioni ring, BHEX pupil expander and glaucoma drainage devices made by 3D printing. We have published an article in the Kerala Journal of Ophthalmology called The Magic of 3-Dimensional Printing in Ophthalmology, where we have discussed the various uses of 3D printing in ophthalmology, including ophthalmic surgical instruments and devices. Several surgeons have used 3D printing for prototyping, including customized vitreoretinal forceps by Dr. David Chow, blepharoplasty instruments by Kotles, modified muscle hook by Dr. Danny Sow, And the pupil expansion device Canabrava's ring by Dr. Sergio Canabrava from Brazil. Our very own Dr. Suvain Bhattacharya has also used 3D printing to design the holder and storage case for the BHEX ring, pupil expander ring. There are also several other uses for 3D printing, including the smartphone based fundus cameras, including the foldable fundascope, John Das foldable fundascope, smartphone based slit lamp imaging adapter that we have published along with Dr. Ahmed Ataya in the Kerala Journal of Ophthalmology. Even spectacles and lenses, including transparent lenses, devices for patients, including an eye drop helper and the glass dropper by Dr. Pavan, and eye drop helper by Dr. Shivagami. Surgical planning by using the 3D prints from the CT scans and MRI scans. Even optical coherence tomography 3D scans can be 3D printed. The 3D printed toys for the blind, Fiddle by LB Prasad Eye Institute is available. Bioprinting can be used for 3D printing cornea, that is also recently available. The 3D printed designs that we have created have been uploaded for free download on thingiverse.com and also in the National Institute of Health 3D website, that is the 3d.nih.gov of the USA. The Thingiverse website, you can see the various devices such as the BHEX pupil expander, the capsular tension ring, capsular tension segments, and so on. If you click one of these, so once you put it in 3D mode, you can rotate it and look at the design and then 3D print it. If you look at the NIH website, Orolob Aqueous Drainage Implant, the RD, and this is a 3D model which is also 3D printable in the resin mode. So these are the two websites where this has been uploaded and you can download them for free. After you download, what do? You can go to Google Maps and find a 3D printing shop near you. So for example, this is in Thrissur. You can look at the various reviews and photos posted. This is a resin based SLA stereolithography 3D printer, and these are all resin printed models. This is the filament based FDM printer. You can do FDM printing as well as resin printing here. So thank you. I hope this will help you to 3D print your designs.